My mom told me she was too busy to watch my toddler while I was in labor, but the next day, she posted photos of a shopping spree with my sister. So I cut her off. 3 months later, she called, panicked, "Why did you stop helping us?" I simply said, I was 38 weeks pregnant when my mom decided to show me exactly where I stood in her life. I should have known. I should have seen it coming. She always favored my sister. Always. It was never even subtle. My childhood was spent waiting for my turn. My turn to be the one she doted on. My turn to feel like I mattered. My turn to be loved the way my sister was. That turn never came. I guess I thought that when I became a mother myself, maybe something would change. Maybe she'd finally see me the way I had always wanted to be seen. Maybe she'd want to be involved. Maybe she'd care. I was wrong. I was already exhausted. My pregnancy had been rough, way harder than my first. I had a toddler to chase around, swollen feet, and a body that ached in places I didn't even know could ache. My husband and I had planned everything down to the last detail. Who would take me to the hospital, where we'd keep the hospital bag, which route to take depending on the time of day. The only thing we hadn't quite figured out yet, childcare for our toddler while I was in labor. We had a plan, but plans fall apart. Our babysitter had a family emergency and had to cancel last minute. I wasn't too worried though because I had a mom. A mom who always said she wanted to be the best grandma ever. A mom who always talked about how family comes first. I called her. The second she answered, I could already tell from the tone of her voice that I was bothering her. "Hey, Mom. I think I'm in labor. Can you come watch toddler's name while we go to the hospital?" Silence. A long one. Too long. Then she sighed. Not a concerned sigh. Not a worried sigh. The kind of sigh you give when someone asks you to do something annoying. "Oh, honey, I can't." I was already getting frustrated. "Why not? It's just for a few hours. You just have to be here while he sleeps." Another sigh. "I'm busy." Something inside me twisted. Busy with what? "I made plans with your sister." My sister. Of course. Plans? I repeated. What kind of plans? More silence. Then a dismissive laugh. "Just plans. You'll figure it out." And that was it. I sat there holding my phone, stomach tightening from either contractions or sheer rage. I wasn't even sure. She didn't ask if I was okay. She didn't ask if I needed anything. Didn't ask if we had someone else to watch my son. She just hung up. I remember staring at my phone in disbelief. Had that actually happened? Had my mother, the woman who gave birth to me, just dismissed me while I was in labor? I felt a contraction ripple through me, stronger this time, and I doubled over. My toddler looked up from his toys, his eyes wide and confused. "Mama hurt?" I forced a smile. "Mama's okay, sweetie. Just a little owie." How was I supposed to explain to my child that his grandmother, the woman who bought him ice cream and told him how special he was, couldn't be bothered to help his mother, her daughter, when she needed it most? My husband came into the room, concern etched across his face. "What did she say?" I couldn't even speak for a moment. The weight of rejection was so heavy on my chest that words seemed impossible. Finally, I managed to whisper, "She's busy. With my sister." The look on his face, a mixture of shock, anger, and resignation, told me he understood. He'd seen this pattern play out our entire relationship. He'd held me through tears after countless family gatherings where I was an afterthought. He'd listened to me rationalize her behavior year after year. Maybe she's just having a bad day. Maybe I'm too sensitive. Maybe if I just try harder. But now, with contractions coming faster and no childcare for our son, there was no time for maybes. I ended up calling my husband's co-worker's wife who barely knew us, and she came over in minutes. That woman, who I had only met in passing, stepped up when my own mother wouldn't. I went into labor feeling like I had been punched in the gut. I wanted to pretend it didn't matter, that it was just another thing on the long list of ways my mom had let me down. But this time, it felt different. Worse. In the hospital, between contractions that tore through me like lightning, I couldn't stop thinking about it. My mother chose my sister over me. Again. Even now. Even when I was bringing her grandchild into the world. Even when I needed her most. The nurse noticed my tears and assumed they were from the pain. "You're doing great, honey. Breathe through it." But how do you breathe through a lifetime of never being enough? I gave birth to my daughter early that morning. My husband and I were exhausted, running on maybe an hour of sleep between us, but our baby girl was perfect. Tiny, beautiful, soft. Holding her in my arms, I tried to push away the pain I felt in my chest. I looked down at her delicate face, her tiny fingers curled around mine, and I made a silent promise. You will never doubt where you stand in my life. You will never wonder if you're loved enough. You will never wait for your turn. And then the next morning, my sister posted on Instagram, best shopping spree with mom. Love our girl time. #retail therapy. I stared at my phone for so long my husband noticed. What's wrong? He asked. I didn't answer. I just showed him the screen. There they were. My mom and my sister holding shopping bags, laughing, posing like they were having the time of their lives. While I was lying in a hospital bed, stitches in my body, running on no sleep, taking care of a newborn. While my husband was stretched thin, making sure our toddler didn't feel neglected in all the chaos. While we scrambled, while we stressed, while I bled, while I healed, they shopped. She wasn't busy. She wasn't unavailable. She just didn't care. Something inside me snapped. It wasn't even anger. It was clarity. I saw things for what they were. I had spent years hoping, years thinking if I just tried hard enough, if I was patient enough, if I was good enough, she'd change. She'd see me. She'd love me the way she loved my sister. She never would. That was the moment I was done. The nurses came in to check on me and the baby. One of them, an older woman with kind eyes, noticed I'd been crying. First time, Mom? No, I said quietly. Second. She smiled. It's always an adjustment, isn't it? Is your mom coming to help out when you get home? I looked at her, this stranger who showed more concern in one question than my mother had shown me in years. No, I said. She's not. The nurse patted my hand. Well, don't you worry. You're stronger than you think. And suddenly, I realized she was right. I was stronger. I had been strong my whole life. I had to be. When my mom forgot my school events but never missed my sister's. When she threw elaborate birthday parties for my sister but handed me gift cards. When she listened to my sister's problems for hours but told me to just get over it when I was struggling. I had always found a way to keep going, to keep hoping, to keep trying. But maybe being strong didn't mean enduring mistreatment. Maybe being strong meant protecting myself and my children from it. I didn't text her when we got home. I didn't send baby pictures. I didn't invite her over. I didn't answer when she finally texted me 3 days later asking how everything went. I just stopped, and she didn't seem to care. Those first few weeks were a blur of sleepless nights, endless diaper changes, and the complex dance of balancing a newborn's needs with those of a toddler. My husband took time off work, but soon he had to go back. Friends dropped off meals. Neighbors checked in. But family? My family was nowhere to be seen. Sometimes, in the quiet darkness of 3 a.m. feedings, I'd feel the ache of that absence. I'd look down at my daughter, her face peaceful in sleep, and wonder what was wrong with me. Why wasn't I enough for my own mother? Why couldn't she love me the way I loved my children, wholly, fiercely, unconditionally? But then morning would come, and with it, a renewed sense of purpose. I was breaking a cycle. I was teaching my children that love isn't something you have to beg for. That family doesn't mean tolerating mistreatment. That their worth isn't determined by someone else's ability to see it. 3 months passed. 3 months of silence. 3 months of peace. And then, out of nowhere, she called. I saw her name on my phone and almost didn't answer, but I was curious. I picked up. She didn't even say hello. Her voice was sharp, irritated. Why haven't you been over? Why did you stop helping us? I blinked. Helping them? Then it hit me. My sister. For years, I had been my sister's unpaid babysitter, her personal assistant. She had 2 kids she never wanted to deal with, so every time she needed me time, she'd drop them off at my place. And my mom? My mom was the one who made sure I never said no. The one who guilt-tripped me if I tried to set a boundary. The one who said, family helps family. It dawned on me then that I wasn't just my sister's support system, I was her safety net, her backup plan, her guarantee that she'd never have to face the full weight of her responsibilities. And my mother was her enabler, making sure the system stayed in place, making sure I stayed in my designated role. Now, I had been gone for months. I stayed silent, letting her feel the weight of her own question. Then she snapped, well? Why did you stop helping us? I took a breath, and then I said it. I was 38 weeks pregnant when my mom decided to show me exactly where I stood in her life. I should have known. The silence stretched between us. I could hear her breathing, short and angry, like she couldn't believe she even had to ask. I let it hang. She had no problem leaving me on my own when I needed her the most. Let her sit in it. Let her feel the weight of being ignored, of being dismissed. Let her taste what she had been feeding me my entire life. Then I finally spoke. I just did what you did. She scoffed. What's that supposed to mean? I almost laughed. Of course, she didn't get it. You were too busy for me. Right? You said I'd figure it out. So I did. She was quiet for a second, then came the explosion. Are you serious? You're really holding a grudge over that? I had plans. What did you want me to do? Cancel just because you were having a baby? I wasn't even surprised. Disappointed, maybe, but not surprised. You're my mother, I said, my voice even, steady. I was in labor. I wasn't asking you to run errands. I was asking you to be there for me when I needed you, and you chose not to. You're so dramatic, she snapped. I didn't choose anything. You just caught me at a bad time. I swallowed the lump in my throat. That's the difference between us, Mom. If you had called me and said you needed me, I would have dropped everything. She huffed. Oh, so now I'm a bad mother because I wanted one day to myself? One day without having to cater to you. I exhaled slowly, gripping the phone tighter. This isn't about one day. It's about every day. Jesus Christ. She cut me off. I don't have time for this pity party. You need to stop being so selfish and think about your sister for once. My stomach dropped. My sister? She's struggling, okay? And you ignoring her like this? It's cruel. She's been crying, saying she doesn't know what she did to make you hate her. She's got 2 kids, you know. She needs help. I almost dropped my phone. She needs help. She. Not me. Not the woman who just gave birth. Not the woman recovering from labor. Not the woman juggling a newborn and a toddler with no family support. No. My sister was the one who deserved help. She has a husband, I said, voice flat. Oh, come on. She scoffed. You know he works a lot. So does mine. Silence. I wasn't playing into it anymore. I had played into it my whole life. Then, as if she hadn't even heard me, she kept going. She needs a break. And you haven't been there. You haven't even checked on her. I let out a sharp laugh. You know what's funny? You haven't checked on me either. She groaned. Because I knew you were fine. You're always fine. You're strong. You handle things. I cut her off this time. Because I have to be. That made her pause. I let out a breath, steadying myself. I don't have a choice, Mom. I've never had a choice. I had to be strong because if I wasn't, no one was going to catch me. You wouldn't. You never have. Another long silence. Then her voice turned cold. So that's it then? You're just going to throw your family away over one misunderstanding. I shook my head, even though she couldn't see me. No, Mom. You threw me away a long time ago. I just finally realized it. And then I hung up. For the first time in my life, I felt something close to relief. But it didn't last. Because 2 days later, my sister showed up at my door, and she wasn't alone. I wasn't expecting anyone. I had just put the baby down for a nap. My toddler was playing quietly for once, and for the first time in what felt like forever, I was sitting down, drinking a cup of coffee while it was still hot. Then came the knock. It wasn't a normal knock. It was loud, sharp, annoyed. I already knew. I sighed, setting my cup down and walking to the door. When I opened it, there she was, my sister. And standing right beside her, my mom. Her arms were crossed, lips pressed in that tight way she did when she was pissed off but trying to seem in control. My sister was holding a tissue, eyes red, like she had been crying. My first instinct? Shut the door, but I didn't. I stood there waiting. My mom was the first to speak. Are you happy now? She snapped. I blinked. Excuse me? She gestured at my sister. Look at her. Look at what you're doing to your own family. I turned my head slightly. My sister looked at me with watery eyes, then let out a shaky breath. Why are you punishing me? I stared at her. I hadn't texted her in months, hadn't called, hadn't seen her. She had made no effort to reach out either. But now that I wasn't playing babysitter, I was punishing her. I exhaled through my nose, keeping my voice calm. I'm not punishing you. I just finally stopped setting myself on fire to keep you warm. Her lip trembled. I never asked you to. I let out a humorless laugh. No. You never asked. You just expected. My mom groaned like she was tired of hearing my voice. Enough with the dramatics. I turned to her. You mean like the dramatics that got you both standing at my door right now? She ignored me. We need to talk. No. You need to talk. I don't owe either of you anything. My sister sniffled, but we're family. I felt something snap inside me. Oh, now we're family? Were we family when I was in labor and mom refused to watch my son? Were we family when you two went shopping while I was in a hospital bed recovering from pushing a whole human out of my body? Were we family when I didn't hear a single word from either of you for 3 months? Neither of them spoke. I crossed my arms. So tell me, what exactly do you need from me now? My mom let out a sharp breath. Fine. You want the truth? Here's the truth. I already knew I wasn't going to like whatever was about to come out of her mouth. She inhaled, straightened her back, and said, Your sister and the kids are moving in with me. I didn't react. I just waited. My sister wiped her eyes, and I don't know how long it'll last, but mom can't handle everything on her own. I tilted my head, and my mom's nostrils flared, and that means you need to step up. I almost laughed. I looked at my sister. Where's her husband? She fidgeted with the tissue. It's complicated. I nodded slowly. I see. And let me guess, he's still working? Still getting to live his life while you run to mom for help? She let out a small, guilty breath. My mom waved her hand, annoyed. That doesn't matter. What matters is we need support. And you, being the selfish little brat you are, have just been sitting in your house, ignoring us instead of helping your family. I let the words sink in. Then I asked, and where was my support? Neither of them had an answer. I let out a slow breath. You have never supported me. Never. Not as a kid. Not as a teenager. Not as an adult. And definitely not as a mother. But now that you're struggling? Now I'm supposed to just forget all of that and be there for you. My sister wiped another tear. I just thought, maybe we could start over. I should have felt something, some kind of sympathy, some kind of softness, but I didn't. I had been so tired for so long. And standing there, looking at them, all I felt was peace. I leaned against the doorframe. So let me get this straight. You two ignored me for months. But the second you needed something, suddenly I'm family again? Mom rolled her eyes. Oh, stop being a martyr. No, I said, voice calm. I just want to hear you say it. Neither of them spoke. So I smiled just a little. Yeah. That's what I thought. I reached for the door, and then my mom said something that made me freeze. If you don't help us, you're out of the will. I turned around slowly. My sister's eyes widened. Mom, but my mom wasn't looking at her. She was looking straight at me, chin lifted like she had just played her trump card, like she had won. I stared at her for a long time. Then finally, I smiled. A real smile. Because for the first time in my life, I knew exactly what to do next. I didn't even blink, didn't flinch. For a moment, I just stood there, staring at my mother, taking in the way she squared her shoulders like she was bracing for a fight. The way her lips curled ever so slightly, like she had just played the ultimate card, like she had won. The silence was thick. My sister shifted awkwardly, her gaze darting between us, like she was suddenly realizing she had made a huge mistake coming here. Then I did something neither of them expected. I laughed. Not a bitter laugh. Not an angry laugh. Just a small, quiet chuckle. Because this was hilarious. I mean, really? The will? She thought I cared about the will. I leaned against the door frame, arms crossed. Mom, I said, shaking my head. That's what you're going with? The will? Her eyes narrowed. I don't see what's funny. I let out another breathy laugh, running a hand down my face. God, you really don't get it, do you? Now she was really pissed. Oh, enlighten me, she snapped. What exactly don't I get? I smiled, slow and easy. You think I give a damn about your money? Her face twitched just for a second, but I caught it. I laughed again. Jesus, Mom. You think I've been sticking around all these years because I wanted an inheritance? You think that's what I was after? Because let me tell you something, my voice dropped, steady, final. I would have given up every cent to just have a real mother. My sister sucked in a breath. Mom's expression didn't change, but I saw the flicker of something in her eyes. Something sharp. Something defensive. I have given you everything, she snapped. No, I said simply. You gave her everything. You gave me scraps. She scoffed. Oh, don't be ridiculous. I looked at my sister. Tell me I'm wrong. My sister opened her mouth, closed it, swallowed, and that was all the answer I needed. Mom scoffed again. This is so typical. You love playing the victim. No, I cut in, voice even. I just finally stopped playing your fool. Her lips parted slightly, and for the first time in my life, I saw something in her face that almost looked like fear. Because for the first time in my life, she wasn't in control. I took a slow step forward, voice dropping lower. You think you hold power over me? I whispered. That you can dangle money over my head and I'll come running? That's not how this works anymore. She scoffed, but I could see her shifting, uncomfortable. I kept going. You want to know the real reason I stopped helping? Why I stopped showing up? It wasn't because I was mad. It wasn't even because I wanted revenge. I tilted my head. It was because I realized something. I realized that no matter what I did, no matter how much I gave, it would never be enough. You would always find a way to dismiss me. Always find a way to twist things. Always find a way to make me the problem. She crossed her arms, her posture rigid. You've always been so sensitive. I smiled, slow and sharp. And you've always been so cruel. Silence. My sister shifted. Mom, maybe we should. Shut up, Mom snapped. And that? That was the nail in the coffin. My sister stiffened. And for the first time, she looked at Mom like she was really seeing her. I let that moment sit, let the weight of it sink into my sister's bones. Then I turned to her. You're next, you know. She frowned. What? I gestured between them. She's only nice to you because you need her, because you depend on her. But the second you start standing on your own 2 feet, the second you stop making her feel needed. I shrugged. She'll toss you aside too. My sister swallowed hard, but she didn't argue. Mom's face was a mask of fury. You are so goddamn ungrateful. I smiled. No, Mom. I just finally see you for what you are. Her lips curled. Then I guess this is it. I nodded once. Yeah. I guess it is. She scoffed. Fine. Don't come crawling back when you realize what a huge mistake you've made. I won't. She rolled her eyes, but I saw the flash of something else. Something uncertain. Something like doubt. Then she grabbed my sister's arm. Come on. We're leaving. She pulled her away, stomping down my driveway, muttering the whole way. But my sister? She looked back at me just once. And in that single glance, I saw it. Doubt. Fear. A crack in the perfect little world Mom had built around her. And I knew, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but one day? She'd be standing on my doorstep too. And this time, Mom wouldn't be the one next to her. I took a deep breath, stepping back into my house. The baby was still asleep. My toddler was still playing. And for the first time in my life, I felt light, free, at peace. Because for once, I wasn't waiting for my turn. I was finally taking it. Days turned into weeks. Weeks into months. My daughter grew from a tiny, helpless newborn to a chubby, smiling baby. My son became more verbal, more independent. My husband and I fell into a rhythm, a dance of shared responsibilities and stolen moments of connection. And through it all, there was a strange sense of peace. No more last-minute calls from my sister asking me to watch her kids. No more guilt trips from my mother. No more feeling like I was constantly failing to measure up. It wasn't that I didn't think about them. I did. Sometimes, when my daughter would do something new, roll over, laugh, grab her toes, I'd have an instinct to share it. To call my mom. To send a photo. But then I'd remember the shopping trip. The dismissal. The years of being second best. And I'd put my phone down. 6 months after that day on my doorstep, my phone rang. It was my sister's number. I hesitated, my finger hovering over the screen. Part of me wanted to ignore it. To continue the peaceful existence I'd carved out for my family. But another part, the part that had always hoped for a real relationship with my sister, made me answer. Hello? There was a pause. Then, hey. Her voice was small, uncertain. Nothing like the entitled tone she'd used on my doorstep. What do you need? I asked, not unkindly, but directly. Another pause. Nothing. I wanted to talk. I waited, skeptical. She took a deep breath. You were right. About everything. Mom. I don't know how to explain it. It's like ever since you cut her off, she's been different with me. Colder. More demanding. I closed my eyes. I told you. I know. I didn't want to believe it. I thought I was special. That she loved me differently. She doesn't love differently, I said quietly. She just uses differently. She was quiet for a long moment. Can we talk? In person, I mean. Just you and me. No, Mom. I considered it. Part of me wanted to say no. To protect myself from getting hurt again. But another part remembered the little girl who followed me around when we were kids. The one who looked up to me before our mother poisoned that well. One condition, I said finally. Anything. You come alone. And you listen. Really listen. No excuses. No justifications for her behavior. I promise. 2 days later, she was at my door. Alone, as promised. She looked different. Smaller somehow. Less polished. There were circles under her eyes that her makeup couldn't quite hide. I let her in, watching as she took in my home. The toys scattered across the floor. The dishes in the sink. The evidence of a life being lived, messy and real. She sat on my couch, hands folded in her lap. Your kids are beautiful. Thank you. There was an awkward silence. Then she spoke. I've been seeing a therapist. I raised an eyebrow. Since when? Since about a month after we came to your house. After you. After what you said about me being next. She swallowed. She used the phrase golden child and scapegoat. I smiled sadly. Sounds about right. I didn't want to believe her. I told her she was wrong, that Mom loves us both, just. She trailed off. Differently, I finished. She nodded. But then I started paying attention. Really paying attention. To the way she talks about you. To the way she treated me when I tried to set a boundary. To the way she uses money and gifts to control me. She looked up, eyes wet. And I realized. You're the strong one. You always have been. I shook my head. I'm not strong. I'm just tired of being hurt. She wiped at her eyes. I'm sorry. For everything. For not seeing it. For not stopping it. For benefiting from it. I didn't say it was okay. Because it wasn't. Years of pain, of feeling less than, of wondering what was wrong with me. That wasn't something a simple sorry could fix. But it was a start. What happens now? I asked. She shrugged. I don't know. I'm still living with Mom. Still trying to figure things out with my husband. Still. She gestured vaguely, a mess. I nodded. We all are, in our own ways. She looked at me, really looked at me, maybe for the first time. You seem good. Happy, even. I thought about it. About the quiet mornings with my children. About the evenings with my husband. About the freedom of not constantly seeking approval from someone who would never give it freely. I said simply. It took cutting out the poison to realize I could breathe again. She nodded slowly. I want that too. The breathing part, I mean. I didn't offer to help her move. Didn't offer to babysit her kids. Didn't offer to be her savior. Because that wasn't my role anymore. But I did say, when you're ready to make that change, to really make it. I'll be here. Not to fix it for you. But to show you it's possible. She left that day with no promises, no grand reconciliation. Just a small crack in the wall between us. A possibility. And that night, as I rocked my daughter to sleep, I thought about family. About the one I was born into versus the one I was building. About cycles broken and boundaries set. About what it means to truly love someone, not for what they can give you, but for who they are. I looked down at my daughter's peaceful face and whispered, your turn will always come. I promise. And for once, that promise felt like one I could keep.